Assalamualaikum and hi to all panels. My name is Naradiana binti Ahmad Hariri and my partner Nur Ain binti Abdul Aziz. Today, we will be presenting our final year project with the title Factors Contribute Toward Recycling Policy Effectiveness Among Residents in Shah. So now, I will proceed to the research background. First and foremost, recycling seems simple, but then there is still a lack of people implementing it in their daily lives. Recycling is like when a garment is no longer useful to its original owner. It is recycled and given a second chance at life as it can be reused. There are many materials that can be recycled, such as newspaper, aluminum cans, cardboard, paperboard, plastic drink bottles, mixed paper, glass containers, and so much more. Most of the countries, especially developed countries, they have enforced policies regarding recycling, as there are tons of benefits that will be gained in terms of environment, health, and other factors. Whereby in Malaysia itself, the policy implemented is ineffective. It is not strictly implemented to the public, as like in Shah itself, that consists of highest rate of produced waste and not recycling it. The factors of this study are enforcement, awareness, and knowledge of the individual. Therefore, the purpose of the study was to examine the factors contributing toward recycling policy effectiveness, which include enforcement, awareness, and knowledge among residents in Shah Alam, Selangor. Next, problem statement. In Malaysia, the government has already introduced the waste segregation policy, and Department of Environment also has taken the initiative by introducing several campaigns or programs like the household e-waste collection campaigns, the introduction of recovery facilities, and many more in order to save the environment. It can be seen that Selangor is one of the highest states in Malaysia that contributes in generating the waste due to the higher number of population and industrial factors. According to the statistic by Department of Statistics Malaysia official portal, Selangor is the highest state in terms of having or produce scheduled waste, which is 1,019.9 tons in 2019, whereby for solid waste, based on the results study by Nur Eda and partners, showed that 0.43 kilograms of solid waste are produced per individual a day, roughly amounts to 372,737.76 kilograms for the whole Shah Alam city. Therefore, from this found that organic waste accounts for 33.98% of total waste, recyclable materials 45.51%, and non-recyclable materials is 20.51%. So there are actually many ways that can be recycled. The problem statement here is that in this issue, it concerns the residents of Shah Alam, Selangor, whether the existence of Policy Act 672 solid waste and public cleansing is either effective or not in order to manage the waste in the state and also to save the environment. The aim of the research is to study the factors towards policy effectiveness among residents of Shah Alam, Selangor. For research objective and question, objective 1 is to determine recycling policy effectiveness among residents in Shah Alam, Selangor. For research objective 2 is to examine the relationship between factors towards recycling policy effectiveness among residents in Shah Alam, Selangor. In conceptual framework, we can see that there is a direct relationship and connection between these three independent variables, which are enforcement, awareness, and knowledge. Between the dependent variables, which is recycling policy effectiveness in Shah Alam, Selangor. For hypothesis, there are three independent variables that consist of two hypotheses for each variables. For null hypothesis, there is no relationship between independent variable and dependent variable, whereby for alternative hypothesis, there is a significant relationship between independent variable and dependent variable.
Hi, I am Norain binti Abdul Aziz as the second presenter of our final year project. As we can see, this is the research method that has been applied in our research study. The first is research design. We use cross-sectional design and quantitative type, while for the measurement for the unit analysis is the residence of Shah Alam. Next is the sample that we took, which is from 300 residents from Shah Alam, as we referred to Roscoe by involving 30 to 500 respondents. The non-probability sampling techniques have been used in order to take this sample. For the data measurement, we use Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree by covering 40 questions in total, which consists of independent variable and dependent variable. Moreover, the data collection has been divided into 5 parts, in total consisting Section A demographic, Section B the recycling policy effectiveness, Section C is enforcement, Section D is knowledge, and also Section E is awareness. Lastly is data analysis, which is we use descriptive analysis to find the mean, frequency, percentage, and also the Pearson correlation. Next, we move to the finding of this research. As we can see, here is the demographic profile of the respondents. The majority of the respondents are from female, consisting of 176 frequency, while the percentage is 58.7%. The age of 18 until 37 is the highest age, with the frequency of 2 to 1 frequency with 73.7%. For the status of the respondent, the single is the highest, which is 209 frequency with 69.7%. Other than that, the highest occupation of the respondents is the full-time worker, as the frequency is 143 and the percentage is 47.7%. There is also a house area in Shah Alam, and it shows that the other section is the highest with a frequency of 112 and the percentage is 37.3%. Finally, the type of house. Terrace has the highest number of frequencies with 136, while the percentage is 45.3%. This is hypothesis testing. The first objective of this study is to determine the recycling policy effectiveness among the residents in Shah Alam, Selangor. The analysis used for this objective is descriptive analysis by showing the result of the mean independent variable, which is 4.060, followed by the independent variable enforcement 3.975, knowledge 4.142, and awareness is 4.185. In addition, there is a second objective, and it is to examine the relationship between factors which are enforcement, knowledge, and also the awareness toward the recycling policy effectiveness among the residents in Shah Alam, Selangor. The analysis used for this objective is Pearson correlation, and the results show for the enforcement is R equal to 0.741, P is less than 0.01. Thus, hypothesis alternative 1 is accepted, hypothesis null 1 is rejected. For the knowledge, the result is R equal to 0.672, P is less than 0.01. The hypothesis alternative 2 is accepted, hypothesis null is rejected. Finally, the result of the last factor, which is awareness, R equal to 0.670, P less than 0.01. The hypothesis result shows that hypothesis alternative 3 is accepted, while hypothesis null 3 is rejected. To the study, there is a need for policy recommendation in order to ensure the effectiveness of the current policy. This can be seen through social work, as it is an essential duty to participate in the social reforms and policy practices in order to bring about the societal changes that improve the life of disadvantaged people, groups, and communities. The reason is because through social work, it could improve and affect the social development and the changes in the community. Next, the second recommendation is the involvement of the upper level to the lower level itself, which are from the state government, the local government, or even the community itself. Policy can be applied through the power of the local government to the local community that live in the area, which will be more effective since they are the bodies that have the authority to do so. The examples that can be referred to by our government are the Green Account program in Shanghai, volume-based waste system in South Korea, and also the litter strategy in England. There are several limitations of this study. The first one is collaboration with respondents. The cooperation from the respondents is hard to achieve, so what can be done is this future research should involve or increase the number of respondents, as the more is better, and need to gain the trust from the respondents in order to voluntarily involve. For example, this can be done through the help from NGO. Next, the other limitation is they only involve the city residents. By referring to the study, only those living in Shah Alam contributing in answering the questionnaire, and it restricts people from the other places to answer this questionnaire. Thus, this could be expanded by applying to the rural area also, since people from the rural also need to be exposed to recycling as they lack awareness, knowledge, and enforcement. In conclusion, this study is focusing on the effectiveness of recycling policy among the residents of Shah Alam between the factors of enforcement, knowledge, and also the awareness. It shows that the recycling policy in Malaysia is on track, as the factors show strong support toward the recycling policy. Hence, the overall result shows that the government needs to maintain and improve the recycling policy at the same time in terms of the factors that have been mentioned, as most of the respondents are satisfied enough with the current policy effectiveness. In order to boost the effectiveness, it could be achieved through the collaboration of NGO, government, and also by referring to the other countries' policies as well. Thus, government and residents in Shah Alam has successfully achieved the title of Green Concept. That's all from me. Thank you.